Hey, I have a second channel. Cube Comp MTDX. Hey everybody. Man, let me tell you, that cat, it just keeps dragging in more stuff, doesn't it? Here we have 3 more Dell Optiplex 390s and a Dell Optiplex 3050. We already know the 3050 is going to be a junker machine because it's one of those newer pieces of crap that's not built like a typical desktop computer. But we do have 3 Optiplex 390s that are spec'd, I'd say, about the same. So all I gotta do is number these things, and then we'll go through them and see which one's good, which one's not. Okay, so they're all numbered up. I've actually numbered these 9, 10, and 11, and that's because I already have a little list somewhere. Right here it is. Systems 1 through 8. And I have 2 Optiplex 390s right here that aren't numbered. You can see one there and one there. Those are fully functional and ready to go. That one needed a power supply. The other one was ready to go. I mean, with the exception of needing, of course, RAM and maybe a hard drive, but they're ready to go. And of course, got the rest of them -1 over there. Actually, minus a couple because I think there was 1 or 2 that I just scrapped, and 1 actually went to my place of work. So, still got a handful of these things kicking around. So that being said, let's go ahead and look through these 3 and see what we got here. Okay, let's go ahead and have a look at system number 9, which is really the first one. So we are missing memory, so we'll need to install some memory in to test it. We have the infamous Chickeny Power H265AM power supply, which I wouldn't be a bit surprised if it only has 5-volt standby and nothing else. And this thing is just full of dust bunnies, full of them. And look at this, looks like freaking dryer lint. All in the power supply fan. And so we'll have to go ahead and pop some RAM in this one, then we can try it out. And also the DVD drive is missing. Was actually missing the whole tray. The DVD drive is pretty much wrecked up. So it's going to probably make a whole bunch of random noise when we go to power this thing up. So I'm going to actually just go ahead and disconnect it from power. Just go ahead and get that over with. So I'm going to pop some RAM in this thing that way we can test it out. Okay, so let's go ahead and plug in power and see what happens with this machine. I didn't like that sound, so that's why I jerked it out real quick. It did actually start up though. Hang on a second. All right, let's try to start it. Actually, no. Take that back. Okay, so the 5-volt standby says charge. Listen to this. I thought the fan was spinning there for a second, but it actually wasn't. One more time. The fan did twitch for a second, and then it shut off. And you can see we got the flashing amber light, so this power supply is bad. Probably capacitors, but if you've watched my previous videos about these power supplies, I'm still trying to figure out what's going on with them. So I'm going to change out this power supply. I'm going to briefly stick in my test unit and see if we can get this machine to start up. Okay, so I dropped the testing unit into this system, and let's see if this thing will now work. Still got the flashing amber. So there could be other things going on with this one. So I think there might be a short circuit in this system, which is tripping the short circuit protection in the power supply unit when it goes to start. So we'll let it discharge, and I'll hit the switch again, and then just have a listen and see if the fans twitch. The thing is, these 390 systems generally, when you go to power them up, when you go plug them in, they try to start up briefly just to do a self-test of the power supply. So you can see, no go. Now let's see what happens if I try to jump the power supply. So I'm going to actually switch this off. I know it's still got a little bit of charge on it, but let's go ahead and locate. Oh, okay, that might be our problem there. I'm not sure if you've seen his fans twitch there, but I could have sworn this was plugged in all the way. Let's try it again. And now it actually started right up. Hard drive not found. Yeah, I guess the motherboard connection wasn't seated all the way I thought it was. But dang, this one actually does seem to work. But it definitely needs a cleaning bad. It really needs a cleaning. This thing is filthy for sure. The CPU core isn't that clogged up, and the rear fan on this is actually working okay. I'm kind of surprised, considering. So we'll just run into setup here, and you can see it started on its own. Alright, so here we are in setup. It's seeing all 4 gigs of memory installed. There's our Core i5 2400 CPU. All these 390s that I've gotten seem to have that processor. It's holding date and time. Yeah, a lot of these things were set to automatically power on after a power interruption, so I got to change that. So we'll go ahead and hit apply on that. I think that's about it. So we'll go ahead and save changes on this one. So the only error it's showing is no hard drive found, because, well, don't have a hard drive in this one. So this one needs an optical drive, which I do happen to have a spare one for one of these. I was given an extra optical drive and hard drive from the guy who gave me these machines. So we can install that other drive in this one and put a hard drive in, or an SSD, whatever I decide to do with it. I'm going to clean all these 390s up, clean them up really good, and fix the issues they each have. Most of them are just power supplies. They need power supply units, and clean them up really good. Probably put them up for sale, get rid of them. I'll offer them for sale as is with the hard drive, and also offer an upgrade option to an SSD. So as you can see, it starts right up now. So there you have it. So that is the first 390. Let's move on to the second one, or the 10th one if we want to call it that. Okay, so here's the second of the 3 systems, or system number 10. This one has the ACBEL power supply, same specifications, but these tend to be more reliable. Now, not sure why this one's unplugged from the motherboard, but anyway, we're unplugged from the rest of the system. Just going to plug everything in, give it a shot. So in the previous systems, all the ones that had bad power supplies, the bad power supplies were the chickeny power units. I think I do have a few or a couple of these machines with functioning chickeny power supplies, but I'm gonna probably end up I may end up just taking them all out. I don't know. Haven't quite decided this yet, because it's not a matter of if, but when is it going to fail? When's it going to quit turning on? Okay, so I'm going to plug this one in. Let's see what happens. Chances are likely if the power supply is good, it'll also start on its own. No self-test. Nothing. Completely dead. So we even have a bad Dell power supply here. It is not doing anything at all. Alrighty, so apparently even the Dell units are going bad too. Now, I don't know, I do know some of the working conditions these machines were exposed to, but and some of them weren't particularly all that good. But still, I guess one bad unit isn't so bad. I mean, of the Dell units, but yeah, the chickeny powers, man, they were just terrible. Alright, so let's go ahead and pull this unit out and try my test unit and see if this machine is good otherwise. Okay, so I've got the test unit installed, and I've went ahead and fixed the connector down here. It was the green wire and black wire, the pins in this connector. The spacing got a little too far apart. That was from using this little jumper here to jump the unit several times in the past, so I just took a little tiny screwdriver and a little flat blade screwdriver in there and closed the connections back up now to make good connection with the motherboard connector. So now I'll go ahead and give this thing a try. You can see it starts right up on its own. So what we need to do is we need to go into setup and turn that off. So I run F2, hit F2 to run setup. Go to power management, AC recovery, power off, hit apply, and under system information you can see we have our 4 gigs of RAM that I've installed. We also have the Core i5 2400 CPU, and the hard drive has been wiped, so there's no operating system on it. So that being said, go and exit setup. So yeah, it's Pretty much a common trend with these Optiplex 390s, the power supply units they're just failing left and right. Particularly the chickeny power units, and also we had that ACBEL supply that I didn't want to start up. I'll have to look into that. Maybe it's just capacitors. But the chickeny power ones, yeah, it could be caps too, but it's a bit more complicated. I've actually posted several videos about the ACBEL H26, no, excuse me, the chickeny power H265 AM units. So this one here, let's say once we get a good power supply in it, I'm not using this one, I guess that's just my test unit. We get a good working power supply in this unit, in this system, it'll be good to go. Just going to have to clean these things up because they're all dirty. Okay, so here's system number 11, which is the third Optiplex 390 in this video. Got a little surprise for you in this one. Look at that power supply. Yeah, so as I've mentioned, these 390s, they're just the power supplies in them are just really flaky. So this one has a replacement Best Buy power supply, Insignia 450 watt supply. Yeah, 450 watt supply. We'll keep this one here just for testing, but we're going to be pulling this one out and changing it out for a more, I guess a better matching power supply for this system, because I mean this thing's definitely overkill for this machine. I mean, look at all the extra connections we have in here. It's a mess. But we will, however, test this one out using this PSU. I just need to pop some RAM in there. This one has 2 hard drives in it, and what it is the guy just stuck a second hard disk in there, so I'm going to pull that one out, or try to anyway. I may do it later. Yeah, so we're going to pop some RAM in this one. Go ahead and stick 4 gigs in, and we'll give it a test. Okay, so I got 4 gigs of memory installed in this one, and it's all hooked up except for a hard drive. I'm not testing the hard drive out. We're just going to see if the motherboard's good. Probably is. Let's go ahead and switch this on and give it a try. You see we got the typical self-test there. This one did not start up by itself, so apparently the power setting on this one, the power recovery setting, isn't set to automatically turn back on. Some of the machines were set to turn back on by themselves, while some were not. So, much more the same. Let's go ahead and start this one up. And you can see, sounds like we have a CD drive, or a CD in this drive. Okay, so this one's going to need a CMOS battery, which is your typical CR2032 button cell or coin cell. So I'd say that's pretty minor. That's a really simple fix. Just replace the battery. So let's go on the setup on this one. And it sounds like we have a CD or DVD in the DVD drive. Let's see what we have here. Yeah, we got something in there. Huh. Store Logics. That's interesting. So if we go to power management, hit power off, it's set to that. System information, we see our 4 gigs of memory, and of course the Core i5 2400 CPU. The Insignia power supply is running nice and quiet. In fact, it has that new smell to it, so It does not have a whole lot of hours on, I don't think. And I will be opening up that power supply in a later video to do a review on it. I think Best Buy still, in fact, sells this model power supply. And I'm seeing some things I like about it and some things I don't like about it. And I'll talk about those in a later video. So, all three of these Optiplex 390s, at least at some point, had bad power supplies, including this one. So, I mean, that's obviously why the power supply has been replaced. So, the Optiplex 390s, they seem to have a serious reliability problem due to power supplies failing. But thankfully, when the power supplies do go, they don't seem to take out motherboards or anything like that. It's not like the days of the E-machine system with the Bestech ATX 250 12E power supply, where when the power supply failed, it would fry the motherboard when it died. So, there you have it, guys. So now that we've covered these three Optiplex 390s, let's have a quick look at that Optiplex, I think 3050. Okay, so here is the Optiplex 3050. And it's got a 7th gen Core i5 in it. It's just shy of meeting the Microsoft Elite class requirements for Windows 11. But, as some of y'all probably know, I seriously dislike these newer computers, and here is why. Remember the days when you could easily repair an OEM system? Let's say if your power supply went out. Gone are those days. Here we have this proprietary Dell motherboard that has a 12-volt only style power supply. You can see the power supply is missing. Power supply probably failed, or they pulled it out to replace a power supply in another system. So you have this 6-pin connection here, and you have this 4-pin connection up there. That 4-pin connection likely is a standard 4-pin 12-volt connection, but you have this one over here, which is not standard. It does not, to my understanding, does not meet ATX 12VO standard. ATX 12VO probably may not have been out just yet when this thing was manufactured. Although this machine's not that old. It actually sports an M.2 slot on it. RAM has been pulled out. So we have, of course, a processor on this one. We know it's a 7th gen Intel i5. And of course, it's got these two fans. So theoretically, you could actually pull a CPU out of this machine and use it in a different system. But gone are the days where you could just rebuild a system using the existing case. Had this been 10 years ago, like for example with the Optiplex 390s, when the power supplies go, you just replace the power supply with an off-the-shelf ATX power supply like System 11 there, which has that aftermarket Best Buy unit in it. But you couldn't do that with one of these. I mean, this is why I'm so critical of these newer OEM systems. They're garbage. They're basically throwaway. If this machine would have used a standardized configuration, you could easily find an off-the-shelf power supply for it. I'm actually looking to see if you can get a power supply for cheap for this thing, but I kind of have my doubts there, because since it's Dell's own design, they can pretty much charge whatever the heck they want for it. So, and of course, it's likely a chickeny power, which is probably a piece of garbage unit, like those systems over there. Some of them had. I mean, chickeny power. Even that thing over there is made by chickeny power, and it's pretty gutless inside, even though it's just a 180 watt supply. That was actually an HP OEM unit there. And let's not forget the laptop style optical drive instead of a desktop 5¼ inch optical drive. Even though optical drives are getting rare these days and computers are not quite as common as they were just 10 years ago, it would still be nice if they would still include a full-size, durable DVD drive instead of this piece of crap right there. And this is not just Dell, this is HP and all the OEMs. They're building this throwaway garbage. And of course, with Microsoft and Windows 11, with the high Microsoft Elite class minimum requirements to run Windows 11, they're trying to push everybody to use this junk or build your own new system, which if you're going to get a new computer, I mean, look up here in this link here, I highly suggest you do it the build it yourself route, or you use a local computer shop, or I would even say use a vendor like CyberPower or iBuyPower, even though I have questionable opinions about those brands. Those are ways you can get computers that still follow the ATX standard, and you can upgrade over the years, provided nothing drastically changes with, of course, that standard, which, I mean, ATX has evolved, but it's pretty much remained the same fundamentally since the 1990s. So, anyways, that wraps up for this video. Hope y'all enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Well, everybody, that wraps up for this video, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like the video. Also, don't forget to subscribe to keep your channel, and be sure to tick that bell so you'll get notified when new videos are posted. Also, don't forget, I have a whole lot of other interesting videos here on the channel to check out. And also, in addition, I have a second channel, CubeComp MTDX, where I have all sorts of other videos not exactly related to technology. Links to the channels are available at the end of this video. Again, I thank you for your support, and thanks for watching this video.